Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Abil Qasim Muhammad wa ala alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin alladhina adhhara Allahu anhum ar-rijsa wa tahharahum tathhira. Tafsir and how to tafsir can be done. At least what are the sciences needed for tafsir, and I think we went over a few things. In terms of knowledge, what knowledge you need before you make tafsir. Just recap, you should know the grammar of the language, Arabic, syntax of Arabic, grammar and syntax. You should be also aware of the individual words used in Quran. There is explanation of Quran through Quran. For example, some part Quran has used something and it is ambiguous, but the other parts of the Quran is described in detail. So there's the explanation of Quran through Quran. Going for the reason that a particular verse was revealed, why it was revealed, what was the situation that the verse was revealed. We go to the correct traditions of the Prophet. I emphasize on correct traditions. You will see a lot of traditions, I shouldn't say the word lot, but many traditions which may not be authentic, okay? Which may be, for example, there are some who say that Ubay ibn Ka'b's, a lot of his traditions are of Jewish origin, okay? And not from the Prophet himself. So whatever it is, we have to go for the correct traditions. Then we have to look for the coherence in the Quran itself. Okay? One part testifying other. Okay? In other words, Quran is something that is coherent, even though it may appear that in one part of Quran there is explanation about a certain issue in a certain way, and another part of Quran in more detailed form or less detailed form. For example, the issue of shaitan not proceeding to Adam. Okay? This story is present in Quran in many places, but in many places it is in bits and pieces said. For example, somewhere it's in detail, somewhere it's just about astaghfirullah. So he just refused. Some talks about dialogue between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and shaitan. For example, he says, I am going to make sure that they are misguided. All of them. So you see that various places Quran has talked about this story in different ways. For example, the story of Musa when he goes to Pharaoh. In Surah Taha it's mentioned, and the Surah also mentioned, but it's in different ways. The story is the same, but in some places, only a part of it is mentioned. In some places, a longer version is there. Why is it so? Quran is not in the business of storytelling. No. Quran is a book of guidance. And the only relevant part of some episode is mentioned by Quran. That is the part of what Quran is discussing. Okay. So keep that in mind. This is not, a storybook, so to say. This is not a novel, for example. Or this is not something that is written by a man that will start at point A and end at point Z. No, absolutely not. Okay. It's the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and wherever it feels appropriate, he mentions things. So you have to look at this coherence. Okay. That how coherently these things are explained in the Quran. You also have to look at the reference to context. Okay. Things are not independent of themselves. Quranic verses are not in vacuum. As a matter of fact, nothing is in vacuum. Okay. There are things, which come before and come after. There's a context to an event. Why it happened, how it happened. Okay. For example, the Quran says, Tabbat yada Abi Lahab wa tab. You know about something, isn't it? Who is this Abi Lahab? You know who Abu Lahab is. Okay. What did he do? Why he is being cursed? And why he is the only person in Quran from the community of Kuffar of Quran who has been cursed. Quran does not mention the name of Abu Jahl, Abu Sufyan, or for that matter anyone else. Okay. Quran mentions only Abu Lahab. 1%, only 1%, Quran mentions. What did he do? That others didn't do. There must be something drastic that he has done that others have not done. Think about it. I'm not talking about that particular issue, what he did and why is it so important to mention it. But there's something that, looking at the context, why does he do? We have to also look for the coordination between the context and the tradition. Is this tradition valid vis-a-vis context or not? Or is so the knowledge of ideology and viewpoint? Also, one must not go to Quran with preconceived judgments and notions. You are not going to Quran with your opinion. You are going to Quran to get guidance. So what Allah says matters, not what I say. I'm nothing. Comes from Him, and that's what matters. So if I go with a preconceived notion, I may come with a contrary opinion based on my understanding, my concept, my ideas, and my reality. So when I go to Quran, I have to go to Quran with an open mind. I accept what Allah gives. And I'm not going to be a barrier myself in the reception of what is coming from the Lord. Okay? So there is no preconceived notion, no preconceived judgment, no sectarian outlook, nothing. We are there as you want it to be plain, blank, and without any dots anywhere. The surface being completely clean. Remember, guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ever present. There is no moment in existence when the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not reflected. But it reflects in the heart that receives it. And for that, the heart must be pure. The purer it is, the brighter is the reception. It's like a mirror. A mirror is a mirror, isn't it? It can give you an image which is clear. It can give you an image which is distorted. How? If the mirror is full of grime, dust, and dirt, the image is not going to be clear. Similarly, the heart is a mirror where the divine light is reflected. If the heart is clear and pure, the image is not distinctly clear. If the heart is full of dust, dirt, and grime. And one of the most potent of all pollutants is one's ego. Of all pollutants that destroys human self is the ego. Ana, me, I'm something. No, you cannot go to the tafseer of Quran with being something. You have to go to the tafseer of Quran being nothing. And that's true, not only for tafsir. It's true for iman and yaqeen and everything that matters. As this ego creeps in, faith goes out. And the stronger that ego is, the weaker the faith becomes. That must be always borne in mind. Okay? Whatever level of your knowledge, your understanding in the Quranic sciences be, okay? This notion should never appear in your mind that you know something. No. The depth of the knowledge of Quran is unknown to humanity. Complete depth, I'm talking about, except the Prophet himself, because he was the recipient of this divine message. As we talked about the tradition of the Prophet, the Quran has layers and layers of meanings, 70 layers. And for you it's sufficient to act on the outermost layer. There are so many depths in Quran that we don't know of. It is said that Ali bin Talib started making tafsir of Surah Fatiha.